The Leadership Gap in Diversity Management. A Queen's University EMPR 230, Managing Human Resources and Employment Relations, Interrupt HR Group Assignment. Submitted by Kimberly Beazer, Tom Evans, Gillian Finney, Catherine Hollingshead, and Samantha Simpson.
Hello everyone and welcome to our Disrupt HR presentation where we will answer our group thesis. Can Canadian leaders bridge the leadership gap through improvement in diversity management? Before we go further, let's go over some definitions. First of all, leadership gap is how well leaders perform on various leadership skills versus how well we want them to actually perform. The gap is created when said leaders perform under the level we want them to or are expected to perform. Secondly, diversity management is the ability to manage individual employees with different cultural values and lead teams made up of diverse employees. Because there is still a difference between how well we deal with diversity management in Canada and how we want it to be, it is one of the many facets of the leadership gap. Now, let us show you why.
Diversity in the Canadian workplace is the best it's ever been, according to the most recent statistics. The proportion of Canadian women in the labour force and in senior government positions has increased dramatically. The number of people of colour in the labour force and senior management are also steadily increasing. As diversity in the labour force increases, it's important that leaders learn and adapt. They need to be prepared to meet the needs of the changing workforce. Human capital is becoming more and more valuable in a highly automated world. A diverse workforce can be a huge competitive advantage since the Canadian market is also diversifying, and leaders need to effectively manage diverse teams to leverage their employees' talents and the benefits that come from teamwork. Increased diversity will only have a meaningful impact if proper leadership and support is provided. Poor diversity management skills today are causing a leadership gap in managers. We will look at some companies who manage diversity well and some who do not to learn how to effectively disrupt HR and fix the leadership gap in diversity management.
The Canadian Research Chairs Program is failing to close the diversity management leadership gap, so they set a goal to have more women, visible minorities, people with disabilities, and Indigenous Canadians in their organization. The goal was to hire a proportionate number of candidates from the pool of eligible academics in each minority group, as seen in the pie chart on the left. On the right is the current percentages of minorities. It is clear they are failing to meet their goals. Diversity compliance is mixed. UBC and Queen's have met 3 of 4 goals, most have met 2 of 4, and University of Calgary and U Ottawa have met none, while other universities even fail to provide data. Now that the ideal state has been identified, the Canadian Research Chairs Program must change their systems, procedures, and practices. As Dr. Adarand suggests, the federal government should publish equity information about each university and should stop accepting nominations from universities that do not meet their goals, thus punishing institutions who are not making diversity a priority and getting aggressive about it.
Women in leadership in Canada. Women make up just over half of the Canadian population, yet continue to be underrepresented in political and professional leadership positions. When more women ascend to leadership roles, they become role models to girls and to other women. More women leaders will also influence the high-level decision-making that will pave the way toward gender equality. Canada's federal cabinet is evenly split between men and women, yet only 27% of the seats in the House of Commons belong to women. And women comprise 19.5% of the board members for Canada's top 500 companies. Yet just 8.5% of the highest paid positions in Canada's top 100 companies are held by women.
The Canadian Forces set a goal to increase their ratio of women members to 25% of their organization by fiscal year 2018-2019. However, they did not reach the mark. According to their report, they failed to set a clear plan on how to reach that mark. They did set a goal of a 1% increase per year, but with no solid plan to reach said goal, it was a vain effort. More often than not, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. With that in mind, what they could have done is set a clear numbers of needed women per occupation and appeal to them based on those occupations. The same can be done for most organizations by setting a precise goal per department or locations instead of the organization as a whole. By concentrating their effort in the right place, a better result can be achieved.
In summary, as we have seen in the previous slides, women, Indigenous persons, visible minorities, and persons with disabilities are clearly still underrepresented in Canadian companies, in government, in universities, and in the Canadian Forces, with many organizations not meeting their targets for diversity. Structured plans are needed to meet the goals of ensuring a diverse workforce and ensuring leaders are well trained to manage this diverse workforce and to fill the resulting leadership gap. Today's leaders need diversity management training, enabling them to work well with women, Indigenous persons, visible minorities, and persons with disabilities, as well as understanding the collaborative workforce needs of the Gen X, Gen Y, and the Millennials workforce, and the baby boomers and senior citizens returning to the workforce, while shifting focus to creating new diversity leaders who advance these diverse workplaces to places where everyone is represented as equal. Yes, Canadian leaders can bridge the leadership gap through improvements in diversity management. References. Additional references. Credits. This slide presentation was completed as the HR Interrupt assignment for EMPR230, Human Resources Management and Employment Relations, a spring-summer course at Queen's University. Thank you goes to our teacher, Professor Glenda Fisk, for creating such an exciting group assignment and for being a truly excellent teacher. Thank you also goes to all group members who, though spread out across time zones, worked diligently and collaboratively online to create this presentation. Kimberly Beazer, Tom Evans, Gillian Finney, Catherine Hollingshead, and Samantha Simpson. Everyone's contribution was appreciated and important. Thank you for viewing our presentation.